Yeah. 2. Yeah. Aye. I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops. The yapping is cheap, I call you the ops. The rapping is heating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit. You tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways. Never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age. Thinking I was flicking, had a low wage. Late the bro days, then a slow praise. Thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change. Then it really didn't, it's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket. Got over money, but the money ain't a topic. Like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it. Kid need food and the whip need juice. I'ma get these views when the
Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them, ain't my shit common. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again, guys, for another edition of the Countermoves Podcast, guys. And man, thank you so much for blessing me with your time, guys. So if you could share, guys, and also subscribe. This is where we take an issue, whether it be social, economic, or political, and we unpack that issue. All right, infuse wisdom into that thing, and then prescribe the solution, guys. That's what we kind of do here. So, guys, if you're looking for a debate, do me a favor. Don't get up out of here, man. If you want to kind of lean in and reason together, man, let's chop it up a little bit. But guys, man, this has been a very interesting week. Every week has been kind of interesting when it comes to our country. And I want to dive into something that everybody's been talking about. There's been a lot of commentary about it, but I want to take a look at it from a different perspective. This topic here, guys. So let's dive into this, man. There was a shocking verdict given by a judge in New York concerning President Trump, and it ordered him to pay $500 million. It's really about $355 million, but with interest that he actually pays on a daily basis at 9%, guys. It looks like it's going to be around about $500 million total, most likely. And that's a shame, but that is the reality right now. It was a shocking verdict, but the verdict was what people was not really shocked about, because people understood that this was how this thing kind of began. Is the judge actually said he was guilty before he walked into his courtroom, so everybody kind of knew where this was going to go. And New York is not very kind to President Trump when it comes to these type of cases. A lot of legal theories are generated in that state. And again, the judge basically said that Trump was guilty. Later said he was guilty before he walked in. And there was some legal maneuvering going on when it came to the judge as well. Also, that was not good at all, period. There's a lot of ethics issues going on there, but I digress. And he came out with this ruling of about $355 million plus interest, right? And the thing about it is there was no victim. So that's the strange thing about it is this verdict came. It was basically a victimless crime. They're using the word fraud, but there's no one that was frauded. The banks made a lot of money. They called President Trump a whale, and they wanted to, of course, lend to him again. He has to pay back the loan early with interest. Insurance companies were not defrauded at all. Period. No one was at all defrauded at all. It was just decreed that he committed fraud. There was no crime. There was no victim. Nothing. And the New York Attorney General she took an old law that really was on the books. I don't know how I got on the books. you could actually claim fraud when there was no fraud. It's a strange thing, but it's fraud because someone interprets it to be that. And so this is going to be very interesting, guys. So the shocking part of this was the amount of the fine, not the verdict. I think everybody that has a pulse understood that they were going to find him guilty, because when you walk into a judge's courtroom and he declares that you're guilty before you walk in, that lets you know what's going down. But hey, I digress. Let's dive into this thing real fast, guys. Man, let's look at this thing real quickly. Let's look at the legal side of this thing. Let's first dive into what actually happened here, all right? And some other things actually came about after the verdict. The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, actually came in and began speaking. I want you to listen to what she says, guys. This is after the verdict, okay? She went on ABC News. Listen to what she says, guys. This is going to, this kind of shocked me a little bit, just a little bit. Here we go. Let's dive into this.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Now to the ABC News exclusive tonight after Donald Trump was fined nearly $55 million in his civil fraud case. Tonight, New York State's Attorney General Letitia James saying she's prepared to seize Donald Trump's assets, including his buildings, if he doesn't pay the money. ABC's Aaron Katursky, one-on-one tonight with the Attorney General.
4 days after a judge ordered Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud.
Stop right there. Everybody keeps saying for a decade of fraud. Where is the fraud? Where is it? No one can tell us where the fraud is. Who's the victim? Nobody. Let's keep going.
New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Trump was held liable for exaggerating his wealth and inflating the value of his real estate, so banks would give him low-interest loans.
That's actually not what actually happened, guys. But if we're going to report, guys, we got to be honest. That's not what happens. This is my area of expertise, and I own a lot of real estate. But that's not what actually happened at all. But let's keep going, guys. I digress. My bad. Here we go.
Trump insisted the banks liked doing business with him.
He said
no victim. No one got harmed. The banks got paid back. So no harm, no foul. Why is that not the case in your view?
So financial frauds are not victimless crimes. He engaged in this massive amount of fraud, and it wasn't just a simple mistake, a slight oversight. The variations were wildly exaggerated, and the extent of the fraud was staggering.
Trump said the penalty against him would drive other businesses out of New York.
We'll appeal, we'll be successful, I think, because frankly, if we're not successful, New York State is gone.
But the state's attorney general told us she's not worried.
And last I checked, tourism is up and Wall Street is doing just fine.
Even with an impending appeal, Trump must either put all $355 million in escrow with the court or post a portion of it as a bond with interest. And David, tonight the Attorney General is telling us she is determined to make Trump pay, even if it means seizing this building or others long in the Trump portfolio. David?
Aaron.
Wow. So, all right, guys, come back to me for a second. So now you have the New York Attorney General saying that for a victimless crime, a crime with no victims, that she wants to seize the assets of President Trump if he doesn't pay the fine for a victimless crime. Sounds a little suspect. Hey, I digress. Man, be honest with you guys, that's pretty scary, guys. That you can be convicted of a crime that you did not do. There's no victim at all. It doesn't make any sense at all. But okay, I'm gonna give you my take on my reaction. But I want y'all to hear that side. right? So how does that actually work? It's very simple. Is President Trump has to do one or two things. He has to put up a portion, which is like 10% of the $355 million, right, in escrow, and post a bond, right? Or he has to put the entire amount in the court, in the escrow account of the court. Where even if he wins on appeal, right, and let's say he put up the 10%, that money's gone. He doesn't get it back. The state gets money no matter what. So the New York AG got in front of a friendly judge who ruled friendly for the AG, for the state, and gave really an obscene amount of fine for fraud where there was no fraud because there was no victim. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. I can't tell y'all. That right there is something. Now, now the one thing that she actually said was that he exaggerated his value of his assets. See, as someone that actually buys a lot of real estate, we have what we call balance sheets and income statements, right? Or financial statements. On those financial statements, you have really the balance sheet. You actually have your assets listed on there, right? And those assets, you actually have a, the asset value of those assets, right? And typically you'll get you'll pull comparables via a license, maybe a realtor or an appraiser, whatever it may be, right? You put that value on there, right? So you go to the bank. You say, bank, I want to get a loan to do X, right? I want to buy this property and get a loan from you to be able to buy it and do whatever you do with the property. Maybe buy, renovate, and flip, buy and hold, buy, increase the value, and then hold, whatever you want to do. The bank says, okay, great. What are your assets? You give your balance sheet. And you have a value detailed on your balance sheet for each asset that you actually have in your portfolio. The bank is not going to take that as the gospel. What the banks do, they get their own appraisal. Typically, you have, as a borrower, you have to pay for that appraisal, right? It's a third party that goes out on the bank's behalf and gets an appraisal for the bank. And whatever that comes back at, that appraisal, that's what the bank goes by, not by what the borrower tells them the value of the property is. Now, get this, guys. Some folks said, well, Dale, if Trump said this about his assets worth $1 million, right? One asset worth $1 million, as an example, but a person came back at 800,000, didn't he commit fraud? No. This is the reasoning why. You can get three different appraisals, guys. You can get three different appraisers to give you three different appraisal reports, and you come back with three different values. Let me say it again for the folk in the back row. You can get three different appraisers to appraise the same property that would generate three different appraisal reports with three different values. That will happen every time. Why? An appraisal is just someone's opinion. That's all it is. So all the bank just says, great, based on this appraisal, we'll give you a loan based on this. Now, Trump can agree or disagree. They can negotiate over interest rates, to that nature, which is fine, that's perfectly normal. It's done all the time. I do it. I do it as well also. So this her saying that he inflated his assets, it's a lie. This is not valid at all. Not at all. She's making it up. Now, let's go to the legal side. All right, legal side. All right, guys. Let's bring in an attorney, because I'm not an attorney at all. But let's bring in an attorney, guys, real quickly here. Jonathan Turley. He's gonna give you the legal side of this thing real fast, and we kind of go from there, guys. And we'll go a little deeper. All right, here we go.
Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, constitutional law professor and a Fox News contributor. Professor, let's go back to the Donald Trump case, the real estate fraud case before Judge Engoron. You said last week that the verdict and the judgment in that case is going to make doing business in New York about as attractive as buying country estates during the French Revolution. Kathy Hochul apparently had some inkling of what you said, because she came out to try to assuage the fears of people who do business in New York by saying that.
Now, what he's talking about here, guys, is the sitting governor of New York, right? There's been some business leader backlash concerning this ruling, right? And she came to the microphone and had to come to the rescue to say, "Don't worry about anything at all." But I want to hear what she says, guys, and then we'll get to a business response to this as well. Here we go.
Saying this, listen here.
I think that this is really an extraordinarily unusual circumstance, that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about, because they're very different than Donald Trump and his behavior.
Wow.
The fact that she came out to soothe fears like that indicates that you probably either hit a nerve or you articulated the reality of what people are thinking in New York.
Well, it's a curious defense, because what the governor is saying is you don't have to worry if you're not Donald Trump in New York.
Wow.
That's the problem. That's why this judgment has to be reversed. But for businesses, if the only thing between them and this type of corporate public execution is the level of discretion of Letitia James, then they're going to move to Florida pretty quickly.
Yes, they will.
The suggestion is, don't worry, we've got your back. This is really something all about Trump. Well, tomorrow it might be all about them.
Wow.
And people in business look for those liabilities they can control. They're margin actors. They look to see where am I going to be able to flourish.
Correct.
And in the past, New York has drawn businesses because of its legal system. There's always been a lot of crime. There's always been all of these inconveniences with New York. But it was also the center not just of business, but of business law. What James did is erased all of that. She campaigned on bagging Donald Trump. She used a law that has never been used in this way against him. And she got a judge who just imposed damages that are greater than the GNP of some countries.
Correct. He's correct.
Trump said this about that judgment in the campaign trail over the weekend. Listen here.
The case is a complete and total sham. It's a sham case. There were no victims, no defaults, no damages, no complaints, no nothing. There was nothing.
There was nothing here. And
nothing there.
I don't know if it was you or somebody else who said that Letitia James charged the person.
Correct.
She didn't charge the crime.
That's correct.
Yeah, part of the disconnect here is that you have what will be over $455 million if you include interest.
Correct.
And then on the other side of the ledger, you have zero. There's not a single dollar lost by these victims. In fact, the people that James calls the victims actually wanted to do more business with Donald Trump.
Correct.
They said they made a lot of money and they viewed him as a whale client. They wanted more loans with him. And what's really insidious about this is that there's another provision in New York law that requires Trump to pony up the full amount or to get a bond for that amount just to appeal this decision. So it's a sort of a perverse incentive for figures like this judge. He made this so large that it could force Trump to liquidate assets in New York just to be able to get other judges to look at this. So it's a grossly unfair situation, and I expect a lot of businesses are very uneasy after watching this unfold.
Yeah, I mean, they just increased the tax base by a whole lot, theoretically. Maybe.
So, guys, man, it's Jonathan Turley, a constitutional attorney, said it best, guys. I had a question on Instagram talking about, is it legal to set a bond for $500 million in any case? It really depends on the judge. This was a civil matter. It was not a criminal matter. So there was no jury. It was just a judge. The judge makes the final decision. And if a judge has $500 million, it's what it is. And it's pretty obscene. And what you just heard Jonathan Turley actually say is he gave you a peek into the mentality of a small, mid-tier, and Fortune 500 to Fortune 1000 corporation. And when it comes to that, is when you actually hear the New York governor saying that any business owner, a leader or owners behavior is not like Donald Trump's. When you hear the word behavior, that is up to the discretion of the prosecutor. So if Letitia James or anyone on her staff interprets or thinks that you are acting in an unbehavioral favoring way, they can come after you. That's a reality. That is a reality. That's really scary type of stuff, guys. It really is. So I mean, it's communistic like. But all right, guys. Now let's look at the business side. This is what y'all guys are really here for, because you've heard all the legal eagles on TV all day long. Let's get to the business stuff. All right, guys. Now, I wanted to go to Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. I'm gonna go to him real quickly first, right? And he really made a lot of the news because of the fact that he responded viciously to this, but in a good way. Nothing bad, all good. He went on CNN and did a phenomenal breakdown of this, and then we go over to Patrick David as well, and then I'll give you my response. But listen to this exchange. So you'll have a commentator. She's also a licensed attorney as well on CNN, and you have a business tycoon. All right, so two different mentalities here, and you see them kind of going after it. Here we go. Let's dive into this. Here we go.
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Do you see how in the questioning they smuggle in the word fraud when where there is no fraud? There is no fraud. There's no victim. It's just being decreed that it's fraud because someone interprets it that way. There is no fraud. Okay? Watch how Kevin O'Leary responds to this. Here we go.
Excuse me, what fraud?
Thank you.
This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city, every developer is an entrepreneur. Right. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. Correct. We're only going to loan you 150 million. Correct. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to, but the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York. Even the governor herself is concerned about what this looks like to investors all around the world. It's not just U.S. domestic. All around the world, people are talking about what happened here. You really think people want to invest money in New York after this? How about we go somewhere else?
I think there are people who would. I don't want to cut you off.
Stop right there, guys. He is spot on. I've been asked several times to invest in New York, Illinois, and California. My answer all the time is no, because the regulations are not favorable to business owners or leaders, and the tax brackets, the taxable environment is not favorable to business leaders at all. It's not a welcoming place for money. And this here, guys, sets what they call in the legal profession a precedence. Don't be alarmed this happened to somebody else, another tycoon, to whip them in line. Do not be surprised this happened to somebody else. All right? Kevin O'Leary is spot on. I will not invest in New York. I've said it. Kevin said it, as well as Grant Cardone said it. Will not. It doesn't make any fiscal sense at all. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, guys. This is good. Now, this is the business side, the real world side of this thing. Here we go.
You off, but I want to converse with you instead.
You just did.
It's only because I want to have a conversation,
you know what?
Kevin,
I respect
as opposed
you
to just having
I
you
respect
tell
you because
me.
you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm respectable for a number of reasons, Kevin O'Leary, but being a lawyer is one of those issues. But I'll tell you, when I hear your conversation, and I do want to converse with you about this point, I understand that there are legitimate concerns that were raised during the trial and will continue to be raised about who the quote-unquote, who is actually bringing the suit. It wasn't the banks who were saying that we as consumers or unsophisticated feel this way. But Letitia James, the Attorney General, and I know you want to expand beyond Trump, has suggested, well, it's about making the playing field level for those who are not the major and billionaire investors, but for those who are supposed to put business records out there, want to get a loan, the idea of making sure that they have to have the same true statements included as those who have a lot more money. Is there any weight to that for you?
That she's actually incorrect, guys, because of the fact that whether you are a homestead buyer, somebody that is buying a house, or a real estate investor beginner, a seasoned investor, or a tycoon like President Donald Trump, the process is still the same. You asked, what assets do you actually have? You present them your balance sheet. The bank does not say, we're going to take your word for it. They get a licensed appraiser to confirm the value. And when the value comes back, they lend on what the appraiser says, not what the borrower told them. It's extremely simple, no matter what you do. So we got to stop this lying. This is lies. Tell the truth. Here we go, guys. Let's get into it.
You?
Well, I asked you who lost money, and I'll make it even clearer. You and I, we're developing a data center together, and I say to you, we can go to New York, where this just happened. It's your money now. You're now an investor, and you're taking risk. You're an entrepreneur with me, right beside me. We're together on the deal. Or I can show you Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, where the governors actually ran businesses. Let's go there, where this never happened before.
Right.
They have power. They have permits.
Yes.
They've got legislation that's supportive of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Why would we go to New York? Why take the risk? My only point is, did we just diminish the great state of New York and the great people of New York? And shouldn't they ask for better management so they don't become a flyover state? Remember, New York has the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulatory environment, and it's incredibly mismanaged. And I'm pointing out now, on top of that, you get this insanity, a victimless crime. And forget about Trump. It's not about Trump. I don't care about Trump in this. I care about America, and I care about entrepreneurship, and I care about democracy and the fairness. The judicial system is now being criticized. People are asking themselves, the bar of New York, is this judge rational to charge $355 million in a case where no one lost any money? Is that good for the people of New York? Should the people of New York wake up to this and say, what's happening to us? Why is this becoming so perverse? Why are we the focus of this injustice? And I have nothing to do with Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting American entrepreneurship.
Correct.
And New York is slowly becoming the #1 loser state in America. I'm sorry. That's what's happening.
Well, guys, I mean that is classic real world versus theory, right? I can tell you this right now. This is going to wound New York, the state of New York and the city. It's going to wound them. Now, Letitia James is going to say, well, Wall Street's doing well. So they're banking on the big boys, Wall Street, JP Morgan Chase. They're not going anywhere at all because they're funding a lot of their campaigns. But I can tell you right now, the backbone of America is the middle class. And when you see people actually leaving the state, if the governor did not think this is going to wound them, she would have never made a comment. Her comments on this lets you know there's some concern there. Because not only do they have a bad regulatory environment, a bad taxable environment, now you have a bad legal environment. Specifically for real estate. Real estate is probably dead there. Did you understand that in New York, I think they have like the normal commercial lag time when it comes to open commercial buildings or suites for you to lease out or buy. really about lease out is about 12 months. New York has about a 48 to 60 month lag time of empty commercial buildings. It's crazy out there. It's crazy town. And this is not going to help them out at all. At all. It's not a welcome environment for no investor, whether he's small, mid-sized, seasoned, or a tycoon. It's real simple. And President Trump is a tycoon. Grant Cardone is a tycoon. I'm more of a seasoned type of investor. I own a lot of real estate, but I'm not at their level yet. But I'm about there. I'm up there. But at the exact same time, I will not invest in New York. It didn't make any fiscal sense from a financing standpoint or a leasing standpoint, landlord or tenant standpoint. It makes no sense at all. Period. And I'm asked a lot to invest in New York. Will not do it. Now, let's stick to it, guys. Again, let's stay in the real world, business. Let's go to our dude, man, PBD, Patrick B-David as well. He commented on this as well also. Guys, he gives a different take on this as well also. Again, I want to pull you into the boardroom, right? To a Fortune 100, 500 or 1,000 company, right? And you can see how the chairman and the board are making decisions. Now, you may say, LaDale, the big companies are not going to leave New York. Well, Elon Musk left Delaware. Why? Because of the taxable and the regulatory environment. Companies are moving. Toyota moved to Texas. Tesla, Texas. Dr. Pepper, Texas. Frito-Lay, Texas. The people are flocking to Miami, flocking to Florida, flocking to Texas. We're talking about corporations as well as individuals. I mean, if you are a business developer for the state of Texas and Florida, boy, you make your money now, because New York just made it easy. They made it easy for you. But let's keep going, guys. Here we go. Here's PBD. Let's get it in.
Kind of break it down for you mathematically. This is purely math, formula, numbers, so you know how this thing works. So let's go through it. If you can open it up and zoom in a little bit. Let's do the math, okay? President Trump has been ordered to pay $83.3 million. That's for the what's the girl's name? Whatever her name is.
The crazy blonde chick. Psycho.
83 points. What's her name?
Stormy
No,
Daniels.
not Stormy Daniels.
I'm sorry, Eugene
It was
Carroll.
the other lady. Eugene Carroll.
Exactly. Psycho.
$83.3 million for Eugene Carroll and $354 million for this inflating your net worth. It's a combination of combined for $437 million, including interest. It could be another $100 million. His net worth is estimated to be between $2 to $2.6 billion. That's estimated to be 21 to 27% of his net worth. However, experts have claimed that Trump has somewhere between $600 to $700 million in cash. Trump himself has said he only has $400 million in cash. I know only sounds like, well, this guy's a rich guy. Not in this kind of a context. This may seem like a lot of money to the average person, but not when you're being asked to pay $537 million in damages and interest. This doesn't include the legal fees that have been piling up as well as the fines his two sons received. If he chooses to appeal, he would have to secure a bond by putting up 10% of the total amount owned, which would be $44 million, which he may not get back. In other words, this nonsense decision and insane dollar amount by the judge could deplete his savings anywhere from minus $137 million to $163 million. Love or hate him, this is what it means. 30 years from now, a woman can come out and falsely claim allegations against you, and if the judge hates your politics, they will believe her.
Correct.
And make up any number to destroy your life savings. And number two, if you build your wealth through real estate and pay back all your commitments to banks, buyers, and sellers, a judge who hates your politics could make up any number to deplete your life savings and prevent you from doing business. So what does this mean to capitalists and those with aspirations to run in the future? Number one, scare the crap out of great future candidates. Number two, eliminate anyone's family from supporting their father or mother from running. Number three, distance family members from those who chose to run to avoid being sued. Notice which of Trump's kids got sued and who didn't, who distanced themselves. Make the candidate rethink why they ever chose to run in the first place and ruin the lifestyle of the rich and famous they once had. Or last but not least, it could energize an entire new generation who love America to realize how much trouble she's in to fight like hell and defend the values this nation was built on. This requires a certain level of courage that words can't describe. This won't be a fight for everyone. You're going to have a few screws missing in this fight, but what is freedom worth to you? That's the most important question one has to ask. God is good. Future looks bright. That's what this really means. And the audience reacted to it. Roll up a little bit on this tweet. The amount of commentary that this brought up and talking about it was absolutely wild. Tom, you see something like this. Okay, from one end, politically, from another end, business-wise.
Listen to this, guys.
Third, as a state, how does this impact politics, states, and business?
This is a political decision.
It is.
Because you just look at three facts. One, were all the loans legally, obtained? Yes. Were all the loans paid off? Yes. So were any banks defrauded? Nope. So if the banks were defrauded, so the federal government didn't bail out any banks the way they did, from coast to coast in 2008?
Nope.
No banks were defrauded. No taxpayer money went there.
Nope.
They're claiming that he inflated his net worth to get loans. You know what? Everybody in America that's got rental housing that rounds up, you put your... You say you put $100,000 as your income, and that's true. But then you add $40,000 for your bonus, but you haven't got your bonus this year. You're doing the same thing. You don't have that bonus yet. You see what I mean? So every American that's ever filled out a form that estimates, my estimated bonus this year would be 40, and what are your other homes worth? Other assets you have? Well, according to appraisals and stuff, but the market's up about 5%. So I think those homes are about worth $500 a piece that I bought for $430 a year ago. This is how real estate works.
Correct.
There's a lot of estimates in real estate. That's why you have appraisers.
Correct.
That's why you have underwriters that review all those things. This is what's called a victimless crime.
Correct.
I believe this is going to be appealed, and I believe this could get to the U.S. Supremes because there are a ton of people in New York. And people can Google after the podcast the mark-to-market laws, where the big holders of commercial real estate have to mark the value to market. And there's a lot of things happening that they don't like this year in commercial real estate. But this is a political decision. It's a victimless crime. All the loans were repaid. Not a penny of taxpayer money went to any banks or Trump himself. And they're choosing to use this to go after him. And just go look at it. The Attorney General made it a campaign promise.
She did.
Okay, very political. And then this judge basically went out and said that I'm here for justice. So when you look at all this and then you see the outcome, so a political candidate got a victimless crime. Look at the people, and I know we're going to cover a story in a minute, who are coming out and saying, wait a minute, this is weird, because there's precedents hitting other people.
What do you think?
Tom, amazing points. And I think, Pat, this is election interference that started from before he came into office, and it's still going how many years? 7 years later, okay? His son, Don Jr., actually posted something very interesting yesterday.
Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any...
Roughly $300,000. What's your this? My net worth is roughly $1.8 million now, whatever the numbers you're putting up there, right? You're estimating. Okay, if you're selling a business, when you go through selling a business, what do? They ask you, what's your EBITDA? Okay, and you'll say, well, we make around $5 million. Okay, so you're saying you make $5 million. That's the number, right? Okay, that's phase one of the conversation. Okay, phase two of the conversation is, hey, NDAs. Let's see your pitch deck a little bit more deeper. Phase three. Now we want to do diligence. Now we want to actually see your numbers with your accountants on what they came up with. Here's what we have. Phase four. If it gets to a point that they're cutting a check that's going to be over 9 figures, we're talking 100 million plus. You know what they do? There's something called quality of earnings. What is quality of earnings? It's called Q of E. The seller spends, how much money do we spend the first time? Couple $100,000 the first time.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, so you spend a couple $100,000.
Correct.
an independent accounting firm
Correct.
comes and does your quality of earnings. They stay at your office anywhere between 2 to 8 weeks.
Correct.
And they go through everything that you have. Then they come back and say, no, it's not $5 million. It's $3.6 million. Or they'll say, it actually is $5 million. Or they'll say, it's actually $5.7 million. But that's the quality of earnings after somebody professionally in accounting firm goes and does that. It's the same exact thing. Now, if you choose to buy my company at 30x my EBITDA, and you pay whatever, let's say you pay $150 million, right? Where maybe the market is 15x EBITDA, which you should have only paid, what, $75 million? Whose fault is that? The buyer's fault.
Exactly.
You made the offer.
Right.
What do you mean, he inflated whatever he did? Yeah, totally get it. But this is a part about the buyer and the seller. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let me talk to the business people in New York.
Listen real clear, guys.
And kind of taking a different perspective. If you're in New York and you choose to stay in New York, to keep doing business in New York, here's what you have to keep in mind. What you're telling New York politics, because Hochul came out, and I don't know if you guys saw what Hochul said, if you have the clip. Hochul came out and said, this is not something that's going to hurt the business people of New York, because the business people of New York would never do anything like this. This is more for Trump because of it. What did Trump do? Go ahead. Break it down. Tell us. Tell us what Trump did, Hochul. Go break it down for us. No, what she's telling you to the business people of New York, you know what she's telling you? She's telling you you're a little boy and you will never talk politics that opposes them, and that's why you're not afraid of that. That's why they're not afraid of you, because they see you as a little boy. As a little boy that won't say anything to mommy and daddy because God forbid, because you're a little boy who stays in New York. They don't fear you. That's what they're telling you. And Kevin O'Leary said it straight. Him and I don't have the best relationship together. We don't have a relationship, but he's 100% right. You people who stay in New York, who are business people, who are okay with this, you have one of three choices. One, it's called flight, freeze, fight. Pick and choose. You flight, come to Florida. Bad news for the people in Florida. I know you want to buy a house. Valuation just went up.
It did.
Okay, it went up because they're going to, specifically for the higher market, not the low market, that's going to stay. If you have a $20 million house, it's officially a $22 million house because of this stupid decision. 10% overnight, my estimation. Again, to the Hochul people in New York and that judge in New York, my estimation, okay, is what I'm saying to you. You have three choices, business people in New York. You're either part of the flight community, okay, which flight community is going to go to a different place, because if that place doesn't value you, come on down to Florida. Number two, you're part of the freeze community. You know what the freeze community is? The people that shut their mouth, become little boys and don't say anything because, God forbid, they come after you and they find out what you did. And you know everybody has something in their closet. You know you got something in the closet.
Right.
What's yours? Your closet may be, a certain dealing that you did. Your closet may be a business deal you were part of. A girl, a something, a party, a cocaine, a past, a gambling habit. Everybody who has done business doesn't walk on water. There's something that you went through in the past when you were 18 years old, 22 years old, 17 years old. Heck, today, 12 years old. They will come back for you. They're going to find something, and they're going to come back for you. And last but not least, to the third community, if you're saying, Pat, I'm not leaving New York. You don't want to leave New York? I don't want to leave New York. No problem. Then fight. Get out there and say something like this. I cannot stand. Say it. Donald Trump, if you don't like Trump. But this is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm going to get behind this because this cannot happen. And talk to 50 other people, 100 other people, and say, if you love New York and you don't fight, you're okay with people leaving because they're going to leave.
Yes, they are.
The policies in New York just officially told you they hate capitalists. They hate job creators. They hate people in real estate who politically are on the opposite side.
Correct.
That's what just happened to New York with these policies. So guess what? If you're part of the community that you can compromise your values and principles and just stay there because you just want to make money because money is your God, more power to you, brother. I'm not like that, and not a lot of people are like that in New York either. The men I know in New York, the women I know in New York with a lot of pride, they're either going to fight and they're going to say this, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to a different state that's going to appreciate me creating business. This is one of the most ridiculous, pathetic things I've seen done in business, which sets a precedent. And if this stays, it's going to be applied in other places.
Yeah, exactly.
FYI, this is not just going to be a New York thing.
Correct.
Watch this happen in California when somebody decides to go up against an opponent. This becomes a business model. If they win, it is a business model coming to every blue state near you. If you're in a blue state, this is officially a format they will use to destroy you. One, they're not going to realize long-term they're going to lose. They're not going to win long-term, just so everybody knows this. Policies like this, long-term, you don't win. You win short-term, you don't win long-term. They're going to get their asses handed to them long-term. Why? Because there's a couple things that they fear, and that fear is always going to be men and women who believe in a higher power, God, men and women who have hope, and men and women who have faith, and men and women who have fight. Those people are not going away. You're just waking their asses up even more. And we come in many different shapes and forms. Some of us are white. Some of us are black. Some of us are Asian. Some of us are Middle Eastern. Some of us are 22. Some in our 30s. Some of them are 40. Some in our 50s. Some of them are billionaires. Some millionaires. Some only make 100 grand a year. Some poor. Some married. Some divorced. Some Christian. Some Scientologists. Some Muslim. Some atheists. But you just woke some of these guys' asses up that are going to come for you. And it's not the way you think they're going to come for you, but you're still going to lose. Legacy for some of the folks that are doing what they're doing in New York is absolutely going to be embarrassing. Someone in Hochul, someone in this judge's legacy is going to look back and say, that guy was my grandfather? What a sham. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment that they don't want to take your last name because of what you guys did in New York. So, great thing about...
So, guys, man, that is... I wanted you guys to hear that soliloquy by PBD. Mic drop, makes total sense. Agree with 100%. Now it's my turn. Thank you for your time. I agree with PBD and Kevin O'Leary. This is a sham. But this is a business model. This sets a precedence. This will be duplicated in other areas that share the same regulation temperament and taxable temperament and a law enforcement temperament, legal system temperament. Okay? Let me say it again. This will be copied. This is an obscene fine for a victimless crime. There was no victims at all. The bank made money. The insurance companies made money. The contractors made money. The labor made money. Everybody made money. They all made money. This is a victimless crime. This was political, purely political. There will be an exodus out of New York. Don't know when, but there will be an exodus. And guys, if they can do this to a former president who is a multi-billionaire, who are you? They do that to you as well also. This is not to scare you. This is to give you the strategy. It's chess, not checkers. Too many people are playing checkers. They should be playing chess. Again, this will be duplicated. Forget about Trump. How can this affect you? If there's a post that they don't like, something that you done that they don't like, an exchange you don't like, all of a sudden someone searches you out for a crime, and they can make it up with no victim being involved. This will be duplicated. You don't believe me? In California, right now in front of the Supreme Court, there's a case called Moore versus the U.S. government. They taxed the Moore family on unrealized gains, paper gains. They violated the Constitution. The Moores appealed to the Ninth Circuit, which is in California. The Ninth Circuit said that what the government did was actually constitutional, and it was not. It was not. They appealed to the Supreme Court, and by God's grace, the Supreme Court accepted the case. If the Supreme Court would have refused this case, that would have set precedents to where that legal theory would have been duplicated. Let that sink in for a second. Playtime is over. Are you woke yet? Woke in a good sense. Are you awake yet? Are you ready to get off the sidelines and get in the game? Or are you going to sit on the sideline and bitch and moan and complain? What do you want to do? I'm talking to people in New York, Illinois, California, Texas, Florida. What are you going to do? Because they're going to act whether you act or not. What are you going to do? It's extremely simple. Is it scary? Great. All I know is when pressure is applied, diamonds come out. Now, will you be crushed by the pressure, or will you come out as a diamond? Now, that pressure does not mean it's going to be easy. Pressure is meant to be hard. But those that endure to the end come out as diamonds. It's very simple, guys. Man, there's something, bro. There's something. Real estate is good. Real estate is dead in New York. It's gone. It's gone. This is my opinion. It's gone. It's gone. It's just not going to happen at all because a developer, this type of situation, if they go after President Trump, who basically owned the skylines when it came to New York, a small time, mid-time developer will get crushed because this was made because they didn't like the politics of President Trump, not because because of fraud, because there was no fraud. Victimless crime, guys. That's my reaction. So, what are you going to do? It's your move now. If you live in New York, if you have the means to get out, get out. If you want to stay, stay. But if you're going to stay, fight. Come out and say how you feel about this situation. If you agree with what this judge did, don't complain when it's turned towards you. Because they will come after you too. It's extremely simple, guys. Man, but guys, I have to always say, guys, what's the counter move? What's the counter move, guys? I always say, peep it, sweep it, and then keep it, guys. I always begin here. Examine your current situation. I'm going to ask this question this way. Where you are living, is this an environment where it assists you in making your life better? You got to examine that. Are the regulatory laws, the taxable laws, the legal system conducive to presenting an environment for you and your family to flourish? If the answer is yes, stay. If the answer is no, what you gonna do? Now, if the answer is no, what's your strategy moving forward? Let's sweep it. What you gonna do? They don't have enough money to move. Time to begin a side hustle. The one thing I learned, my rich dad always advised me. He said they'll never say I can't. Always say how can. So if you are the ones that actually say that I don't right now, the funds are kind of tight. Don't say I can't. Say how can. When you begin saying how can instead of I can't, your mind becomes active, creative. Okay. Don't say I can't. Say how can. Okay. Very simple. Then I'm gonna say keep it and start planning or thinking generationally. I said every week, if your solution begins and ends with you, you have failed. You have failed. It's real simple, guys. So I think generationally, if you need to make more money, guys, it's about time for you guys to begin a side hustle. It's time. You got two options: bitch and moan, begin a side hustle, and learn how to turn it into an enterprise. Very simple. How do you begin to know what's the best side hustle for you? Right? Simple. What's your vision? What problem do you want to solve? Because right now, if you stick with I can't afford, you're going to be made stuck in an environment that may not be the best for you and your family. Why do you think Texas is growing so much? Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma. West Virginia. They're growing. Why? The laws are conducive for money to be invested to yield a return for the one to invest in the capital and for those that are partnering with the person that's actually investing the capital. It's real simple. Everybody wins. It's simple. That investor and those that are reaping the rewards of the investment had a vision. They thought generationally. It didn't begin and end with them. So it's a shame, guys, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all, guys. But guys, man, give me your thoughts. What do you think? Always said, it's time to turn your side hustle into an enterprise. Again, what are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts real fast, guys. Hey, guys. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you guys tomorrow, guys, at 5 p.m. CST, we have Real Estate Friday. Every single Friday, guys, we have it. This is Cliff and I for this, man. Come get it in with your partner and Cliff, man. We chop it up. Also, guys, man, so that's 5 p.m. on all platforms. Also, guys, we have a new sponsor, American Rounds, guys. You see the shirt real quickly, guys. Full disclosure, I am an owner of this company as well also, guys. But here's a little bit of something about what we're offering, and we are exploding right now. Here we go.
Majors, I'm the CEO of American Rounds. We are in Pell City, Alabama at Fresh Value grocery store installing the first ever automated retail machine for ammunition. The stores were really the inspiration for it. I mean, they knew their customer base and they came to us and thought this would be a really good opportunity for their customer base. There's a lot of hunting community here in Pell City and thought that their customers would love an opportunity to be able to buy ammunition here at the store.
We're super excited to offer, what we think is the first ammo kiosk. We're always looking for ways to give our customer another reason to come visit our stores. Anything that we can do to help them make their shopping trips easier based on the feedback that we've gotten just from customers today. They are so excited about us having the ammo kiosk.
We're getting ammo!
One of the ways we're changing the landscape of ammunition sales is to make it more available. Being able to move into a place like a grocery store, supermarket makes a lot more available to the public. But we're taking a different approach to it. Traditionally, ammunition is sold at outdoor type stores, your sporting goods stores, and it just sits on a shelf. It's very accessible. Because of that, there's a high rate of theft. But with our machines, as you can see here, we have a very secure automated retail machine. We're able to age verify. We scan a driver's license. It then takes 360 facial recognition for the purchase and matches it to the ID. So the machines really provide an opportunity for safe, affordable, and available ammunition sales.
There is no doubt that foot traffic will increase based on the feedback that we've gotten. And again, we're super excited not only to have it here, but in other locations in Fresh Value as well.
We're really excited about where we're going. We are going to continue to expand here in Alabama. We have a machine slated to go into Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas. So over the next year, we're looking forward to, seeing these roll out all throughout the South and the Southeast.
Guys, that's American Rounds, guys. American Rounds. Find American Rounds on all platforms. Guys, just type in the word at American Rounds. It's right there, guys. So go to AmericanRounds.com. Guys, it's the first AI-powered, unattended ammo vending machine, guys. And it has just been exploding. Pretty excited about it, guys. But yeah, new sponsor, guys. But guys, thank you so much for your time, guys. I hope this was a educational, eventful. But guys, I end it every single time before you leave. And while you can, you see that thing, baby. Take that damn picture and give it to your mama and them. And holler at you about it. See you guys next week, guys. God bless you guys. Peace.